reusable, viscosity control, anti-fogging, and all those kind of stuff that we will add in those kind of additive in that blending area so that we can use it like a renew oil. And the last point is distribution. So when we make a oil, when we make a oil reusable, then at the later part we have to do a packing stuff, and then we do a distribution. And let's move on towards our use oil. You can see that first step is we have to collect the oil together in a different area. There are mainly four major companies that usually use. One is just like aeronautical companies or marine industry. Second one is automotive industry, mostly use an oil. And third one is just like a machinery, and fourth one is hydraulic. So all those companies usually use oil for different purposes, for lubrication, for consumption. So we collect all those used oil together, and then we try to do a recycling process. In the recycling process, if we analyze the oil can be reusable, then we go through the refining process. Sometimes oil is too much dirty. They have a lot of contamination in that. Then we don't do the refining process. We use as a energy, like a oil furnace. We use the oil as an energy extraction. So this is if the oil is not able to use as a combustion process, then the third step is we just try to think about how we can dispose it. In disposable process, there are two ways we usually do that. In the disposal, first we dump it, and if we can't able to dump it, then we reuse it like a coal, tar coal, in just like construction of roads and all those kind of stuff. So this would be a third step. If oil can be reusable, then we put in the refinery. How we can refine it? You can see that in the refining process, you can we collect the oil and then do a three kind of process. First is distillation. What is the distillation? We differentiate oil on the basis of boiling point, and then we do a cracking. Cracking is large molecule of hydrocarbons we just break down into a small one, and this process is called cracking. And third one, we add some chemical into that to make it reusable. And then we just try to be doing the refining. First one is dehydration. Dehydration is the removal of water. When we use oil, mostly oil contain water. So what we do, we try to separate the oil into a water in the first step. Second step is filtration. When we feel that there is an impurity, which would be a physical process, we remove the impurity by using a filtration process and other kind of stuff. So the third step is hydrogenation. What does that mean? We add hydrogen into the oil to remove the sulfur content. Why we want to remove the sulfur content? If we don't remove the sulfur content, sulfur becomes oxidized to make it sulfur dioxide and trioxide, which is the acidic character into that, and that maybe causes a lot of kind of problem into our mechanical stuff. And third one, if we do that, if we see that the oil can be reusable, but they have some kind of contamination that's called regeneration, we remove the contaminating part, but we don't do a distillation and cracking, this kind of stuff. We just remove the impurity and we regenerate to use as a next step. The second step is blending. First we did that, we collect the oil, we refine the oil. Now we are adding some kind of chemical to make it more to enhance the chemical property of reusable oil. We added some chemicals like chemical anti-wearing agents, viscosity modifier, detergents are blended together so that the oil can gain their own property. And then we do a homogenization. What does that mean? When we are adding a chemical into that, we should be homogenized. Like a concentration of oil should be equally distributed in all part of that. That should be necessary. And later part we just do a packing and try to be just like packing and storage drums in containers. And after that, what we do, we just try to be distribute. Distribution usually do in a three different way. One way we just use that pipeline. Second one is trucking, and mostly we just do a shipping if we want to move from one part of the world to another. So mostly we use three ways to transport the oil. And then we just do a storage, and these are the chemical companies that these are the companies that usually use oil. Like I told you before, automotive industry. Second one is industrial machinery and hydraulic and other kind of marine and aviation application. The last point which I want to discuss, that you have seen that a lot of chemicals I am telling that we have to be add. So what kind of chemical adding and different process? These are the chemicals exposed. Refinery, we use some catalytic, and then acid and base on a different stages, what kind of impurity available in our oil. Second one is blending. We just try to enhance the modification of detergents and anti-wearing agent and antioxidant. So these are the chemicals that we usually use. And in the distribution and consumption, anti-foaming agent, so that no corrosion inhibitor and pore point dispersion. So we just use these kind of chemical. And the last point is that again, when we use oil management, we should use these kind of acid, base, absorbent, and conglomerate, all those kind of stuff. And now we are just, because our fourth member is not over here, he has some emergency, and we are going to play his video. So he just continue over here, he's Hani.